everybody. Welcome to another edition here on the Pattison Report podcast. I'm Brandon. That's Ryan. And this week is laser focused on two things. Some happened with the Sixers. Quentin Grimes got signed. They both managed to fuck that up. We'll deal with that later. Biggest story of the week by a comfortable margin is the official return of Red October on Saturday. Phillies, Dodgers. Not the matchup I think a lot of Phillies fans wanted, myself included. It's the matchup you kind of expected to get, but I think a lot of us were praying that maybe Cincinnati could find a way to get to that Dodger bullpen and knock them off. It just was never close to happening. I mean, there was just such a giant talent disparity between those two franchises that it became pretty clear pretty quick that Cincy couldn't hang. So I personally adjusted my stance to look, we know Cincinnati's not going to win, but I need one win out of Cincinnati. I need them to take this thing to 3 games because that Game 3 starter would have been Shohei Ohtani, and it would have been phenomenal for the Phillies because then you wouldn't see Shohei again until probably Game 3 at the earliest at that point. So it would have been advantageous for us not to have to lead off the series against Shohei. But that is now our reality as we look ahead to Dodgers Phillies. Shohei Ohtani, Chris Sanchez to kick it off. And it's going to be an uphill climb, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big uphill climb, but I think we got it. We just need to get to the bullpen. Honestly, that's all we need to do. It was bad since he doesn't have those experienced hitters to get to these guys. And the Phillies do, so I'm all in. I think the Phillies get it done in 4, though.
I hope they do. You and I talked about – actually, it wasn't even that. My buddy Frank and I were talking about that same kind of idea where it's like, oh, dude, all you got to do to the Dodgers is chase their starter. You just got to make them throw pitches. You got to chase their starter out of the game. And the more we were saying it, we were like, yeah, it seems so simple, but that's not what this team does generally. When they're at their best, they do. But on a regular basis, the only guys I can really count on seeing a bunch of pitches is Kyle and Bryson. Bryson Stott will see 10 pitches in his sleep, and Kyle routinely is in the top 10 in NL and walks almost every single season. So those two guys are going to see pitches. The rest of this lineup has a tendency to kind of flail, which plays right into the Dodgers' hands where they love to get 6 or 7 out of their starters and then hand it over to their very mediocre bullpen. If you're the Phillies, I'm thinking you need to chase their starter the 5th inning.
Yeah, I mean, it looked bad against the Reds. It kind of feels like they found something with Roki Sasaki last night. Kind of scares me a little bit. That 9th inning was a little too dominant for my liking. Yeah. But it's tough. Just got to get to that pen.
Yeah, you got to get to them early because, to your point, at least against Cincy, the back end of their bullpen seemed to find some stability. So you really need to dig into that middle of the pen. That's why I'm saying you want to get that starter out of there by the 5th because that gives you it gives you at least one time through your lineup with probably a middle reliever before you start. Not that their back end is good, but it's better. So that 5th, 6th, 7th inning is where if the Phillies are going to make the run and do some damage, that's kind of where it's going to be. And you don't want to waste one of those trips through the top of the lineup still having to deal with Ohtani, Snell, or Yamamoto.
Yeah. I mean, they look good. Snell looked great. Yamamoto looked great. They're probably going to run those guys out the rest of the way. The case when Ohtani started last time was Ohtani basically no hit us over 5, and then we got to the bullpen. I think that might be what we're looking at this time around. Who knows? Not no hit, but 5 strong innings.
No, I think you were right the first time. I'm pretty sure we were no hit through 5.
We were no hit, but
So yes, that's the key. Obviously, if you're looking at LA, where their weaknesses If you flip things around on the Phillies side of things, Rob Thompson did what I wasn't sure he had the courage, the balls, whatever you want to call it, to do. And that is to bump Aaron Nola from that top three of your NLDS rotation. Now, is he currently slated as Rob's preference to start to be the fourth starter? If it comes to that, yeah, that's as much as we could ask for. But I was very proud of Rob to make the jump, go against one of his guys, and have that top three be Sanchez, Luzardo, and Suarez, likely in that order.
Yeah, I mean, do I like Luzardo pitching on the road? I'd probably rather Ranger do it, but
yeah.
And we've talked about that in detail on this show as well. So it's tough, but
well, that would say Ranger up for the road start, right? It would be 2 at home, 2 on the road, 1 back home.
I thought he said the other way. I'm sorry. I'm dealing with a cold over here.
No, I think at the moment it's Sanchez, Luzardo, Suarez is my understanding.
That's perfect. We didn't think he was going to do that. You just said that. We thought it was going to be Nola in here, and he went against the grain, and he did it. So I'm happy he had the whatever word you want to use to do that.
Yeah, one of his downfalls as the Phillies manager, and I love Rob Thompson. I think he's done a great job. He hasn't won the big one yet, but he's gotten us there. But if you have a problem with him, it's that sometimes he'll ride with his guys a little bit too long. He's a little bit loyal to a fault. He's a little bit slow to make change. And I just could easily see a world where he talked himself into, Nola had all this postseason success. He'll dial it up for one game. And I am very proud that he didn't do that. I love Nola as the fourth starter. I think, in the NLDS, you hope you only need 3, but I don't think anybody really has a better fourth guy than the Phillies do with Nola. Season wasn't great, obviously, but how many other fourth playoff starters have the playoff resume that he does? You think back to the year we made that run, that fourth guy in the rotation, I believe that year was it Falter, Syndergaard piggybacked? So, yep. You go from that to a guy who has been a Cy Young contender in the past to a guy who's had a lot of postseason success. I don't mind him where he's at. I would have minded him at 2.
Yeah, I totally agree. You'd love to pitch Sanchez for Game 4, especially if the series hangs the balance. If it's 2-1 Dodgers, which I hope it won't be. I don't think it will be.
Yeah.
But it's going to be nerve-wracking, to say the least.
Yeah, and that becomes a whole separate. Hopefully we don't wind up in that situation, but that becomes a whole separate debate. Is if that Game 4 rolls around and our playoff lives hang in the balance, do you ask Sanchez to do something you've never really asked him to do, and that's pitch on short rest, or do you at that point go, you know what, Nola's been in this exact position before. He is rested. Do you see what he can give you? That is a really difficult decision, and one I don't really have a personal answer to.
We're going to find out the hard way.
My gut would probably say to go Nola in that instance, only because he would have the fresh arm. He's done it before. I think asking Chris for the first time, to my knowledge, ever to pitch on short rest in an elimination game in the playoffs on the road in your scenario is an awfully huge ask. But he's the ace now, so that's if you're going to ask anybody, that's the guy you do ask.
Yeah, he's our Nick Foles. Put the writing on the wall. He's not 1-for-1 comparison, but it feels similar.
Yeah. So we'll see what that is. You and I talked a little bit about the keys to the series already. I think for the Phillies, it's long at bats. It's hanging around until you can get to the Dodger bullpen. If you're the Dodgers, I think it's the opposite. I think it's efficiently punching guys out. It's not letting the long ball beat you. Guys like Bryce, Kyle, Recently, Bader, even Kepler have shown that they can beat you with a long ball. So if you're pitching against the Phillies, you want to make us string hits together, make us beat you with singles. But we've won that way also this year at times. So that's possible too.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the bullpen being a little on the downslope. It's quite not as bad as the Dodgers have been. I mean, those guys last night against the Reds, they couldn't throw strikes. The Reds just held them out.
Yeah, so
they couldn't touch the strike zone. So
you could look at it that way and getting a lot of hitters counts, and then try to take advantage there. But we're going to see. So it all kicks off on Saturday. Red October is back in Philadelphia. We will figure out how we're going to handle next week once we have some time to figure out start times and stuff like that, whether or not we'll have an episode or not.
Hey, hopefully we do it on Thursday. We're celebrating a 3-0 sweep. I mean, hey, it's not going to be that way. But we can hope, right?
We can hope. If it's an early enough game, if it's a 6 o'clock start, we could possibly do a post game on Thursday. Hopefully celebrating a 4-game series win at that point, but we'll see how that all shakes out. Across the parking lot, and in this case, down south in the Sunshine State, the Eagles continue to win ugly, which, if you've been following this team long enough, can mean a couple different things. I'm usually the optimist on this show, so if I'm pessimistic, I can imagine where Ryan's head's at. I am a little bit I'm feeling 2023 vibes, unfortunately, because it's not – we're winning ugly, and I appreciate that, but there's something so very broken on offense, and we're at the quarter mark of the season, and we're no closer to fixing it than we were week one. There is something deeply broken in the past game, and it reminds me of kind of the awkwardness and the uncomfortableness and the disjointedness that we had in 23 before Kellen Moore came in and kind of revamped everything. I mean, you're getting A.J. Brown commentary. Saquon Barkley's running into a brick wall up front. Devontae's route tree is extremely vanilla again. It's just a lot of the things that we saw the last time that the wheels came off.
Yeah. Look, he's just not creative. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know what other way to put it. Although he came out with that flip pass to Goddard, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, where has this been all this time?
The Goddard flip was great. The tush-push variation.
The tush-push variation. So he's showing some creativity, but at the same time, I need more. I need stability. I need, okay, cool, 1 or 2 flashy plays. Awesome, great. They worked in big moments. But remember, we wanted to run Kellen Moore out of town after week 4 last year against the Bucs. We wanted to run him out of town. The Brian Johnson offense was going great for half a season, hypothetically. I think we need some more time. I mean, maybe I'm the optimist. Maybe our roles have flipped for the night, but I don't like what I'm seeing. And if you ask me again in 2 weeks, I'll be there with you. But I need more play action. I think the O-line. I think that's the problem. I messaged you. I mean,
well, Landon's way more hurt than they're letting on. That's for sure. Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, he is an all-pro guard. And he's getting beaten by guys who he used to take their lunch money up there. So there's something just not right with Landon. We're 4-0. I would almost rather them just get him right than deal with whatever he's dealing with for the rest of the season. And then I also just think, I think you covered the creativity in the passing game really, really well because there just really isn't any. I think the concerning thing and the where you separate this year from Kellen Moore was Saquon was sensational from start to finish last year. I mean, Kellen Moore came in with a plan on how to use Saquon better than anyone has ever used him before. And this year, look, Saquon's not a different back. He looks explosive. He looks the part. He looks healthy. Your O-line isn't the same. I mean, Landon, like I said, Landon's not as healthy as we'd like him to be, but it's still a good O-line, a good enough O-line to where Saquon should not be averaging 2 to 3 yards a carry. So the creativity in the pass game spills over to the run game, and when you become this predictable, that's what does remind me of Brian Johnson. I remember sitting there watching that offense and going, draw, or swing pass, or like you could pick out what we were going to do. I'm watching Kevin Patullo, and I know if it's third and more than 10, draw, run. Like it's just so conservative, and I'm not used to the Eagles being this conservative.
Yeah, they get up by like 20 points and they just mail it in. It felt like they mailed it in against the Bucs, and they gave them multiple opportunities to come back.
Yeah,
but run some outside zone. Patullo, I beg, run some outside zone, please. Stop running in the center.
He's treating Saquon like he's Derrick Henry. Like, this dude has get away from the cop's speed. Let him use it.
He's treating him like he's A.J. Dillon. I'm just saying.
Just running him right into bodies.
The play call is no different when either of them are on the field. So
that's a really good point. So that's the only thing. I mean, I think Vic's doing the best he can on defense. You're getting the Kobe Dean back, which presents some scheme questions. Well, I don't think it's going to present itself too much this week. We'll dive into that next week, most likely. But Vic's doing what he can defensively. I think that one deep ball, actually both deep balls, like an excuse for the most part. I mean, you never want Jahad Campbell out in coverage that far down the field. That's just that's schematic. Vic will get that figured out. And then the other one, I mean, you couldn't ask DeJean and Makuba to be in better position. I mean, when you watch that ball go through 4 arms, again, they were right where they were supposed to be. So that's 14 points that, I mean, it counts all the same, but it wasn't a coverage bust on either one of those.
No, it happens. It's the NFL. What can you do, honestly?
Yeah, teams are going to get theirs, but we'll check in with the Eagles next week. Phillies kicks off on Tuesday. Red October is back at CBP, and we will figure out when we are going to record this next week. So we'll announce that on Twitter. Keep a close eye on that. But in the meantime, I'm Brandon. That's Ryan. This is the Passing Report. We'll see you next week.